What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus check update, stimulus package, and infrastructure update and daily news report for Thursday, September 16th. There's been a lot of new stuff going on over the past 48 hours. There's a lot of lawmakers that are questioning what is currently in the $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. Republicans are now questioning whether they should actually support that $1.2 trillion bipartisan bill, and many lawmakers are wondering what they should consider putting back into the $3.5 trillion bill if the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill doesn't get passed. Well, there's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of back and forth. If, and this is only if the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, that has pure infrastructure, if that doesn't pass, then Democrats are going to put infrastructure into the $3.5 trillion bill. However, that could ultimately make that more expensive. But would moderates even consider that? We don't know. Here's what we do know. According to reports this morning, they're now indicating that the GOP may essentially just pull out of the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure deal. They are saying that multiple Republicans have said that Nancy Pelosi linking the two bills together and delaying the entire voting of this bill is making them question whether they should even move forward with it. And they're having a difficult time keeping all the GOP on board with supporting this bill. Again, in the Senate, only 17 senators supported this bill. It hasn't been voted on in the House. Nancy Pelosi will not bring this bill to a vote until the $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill is voted on and passed first. That's why they are linking the two bills, and that has many Republicans extremely upset. But here's what we know. Even the Problem Solvers Caucus co-chair, he had this to say, and I quote, "If the infrastructure bill is linked to any other bill or held up for months, that support would fall apart." And that's exactly what is happening right now. What we're seeing, and remember, the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, this passed before Congress went on recess in August. So this passed over a month ago, but this is what we're seeing. It's being held up. This bill is being held up. Now, some say this is good because by holding this bill up, it's going to mean moderates will potentially be on board with supporting the $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. But at this time, it's not looking like either bill is going to be likely, at least as of this morning, because the reports are indicating that more and more Republicans are extremely upset with what is currently happening. Now, this bill has been held up for over a month. They're tied together. Okay, that's creating issues. But while they work that out, they are starting to get more of an idea of what's going to be in this $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. Now, we don't have all the details yet. Hopefully, we'll get those very soon. We were supposed to have all the deals and the details finalized yesterday. However, that didn't happen. What happened was Senator Joe Manchin and Senator Kyrsten Sinema actually met with President Biden yesterday afternoon to figure out what they are opposing in this $3.5 trillion bill, which is part of the Build Back Better plan. President Biden wants to know what their red lines are, where they currently stand, and how much they would support. Well, according to reports, President Biden got very few answers out of either one. But here's what we do know. Here's what is in this $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill or spending bill. What we know is there's 12 weeks of universal paid family and medical leave. There's an automatic enrollment into retirement accounts. I've mentioned this in multiple videos as well. There's retirement savings contribution credits for low middle income earners. They would actually get credits for contributing to retirement. There's dental, vision, and hearing for Medicare. This will most likely be a $1,000 cash voucher that you would get, and you can spend it on dental, vision, or hearing. It doesn't need to be all three. They want to extend the Obamacare subsidies, where there will be a 8.5% max of your income would go towards this. This was very beneficial during the pandemic. They want to extend this. It's going to be billions of dollars for home-based care for elderly. There's going to be permanently expanded children's health insurance programs, funding for modernized health facilities, funding for pandemic preparedness investment. If you're not sure what this is, what we are hearing is that experts are telling us we will have another pandemic worse than the one we are currently in, but within the next 10 years. So they want to be prepared for this, and they want to invest into this. They're also going to be billions of dollars for funding for transportation, funding for the next generation 911 services, money for internet connectivity to actually bridge the homework gap for staff, teachers, and students. Many students didn't have internet access during this past year, so they were doing homework at McDonald's and Taco Bell and Starbucks, and it created a big issue. There's going to be 8 million undocumented immigrants that will have citizenship. That's if the Senate parliamentarian allows this to be pushed into the bill. Some expect it will be pulled out. I don't know whether it will or not, or won't be included, but both parties have actually pitched their ideas to the Senate parliamentarian, so she's currently making the decision right now. They want to raise the corporate tax rate to help fund the bill. They want to increase capital gains taxes to 25%. This would be the max tax. They want to increase the top marginal tax rate for those making over $400,000 per year. They want to include a tobacco and nicotine tax. And I addressed this yesterday, that studies show that lower and middle income earners are the ones that use tobacco and nicotine more so than high income earners. And so they would be impacted because of this tax. They want to expand the child tax credits until 2025 and provide $80 billion for IRS funding. And this is going to help strengthen tax enforcement. And I addressed this as well, that what experts are telling us is that people that are lower and middle income earners would most likely be the ones that get audited, just because we have easier tax returns than people that are making hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. It's just more complex. And so that's what we know so far. But here's something else we know. There are multiple bills that aren't being included yet. There is nothing for a stimulus check, even though many lawmakers are saying that we need this. And I addressed this before, and I think I think I'm confusing some people, so let me clarify this. One of the things I've said in the past, and I haven't mentioned it lately, is lawmakers have pretty much alluded to the fact that they are going to bring the stimulus bill or stimulus check proposal to the floor. They're gonna propose this once we get closer to the end of the $3.5 trillion stimulus negotiations. They don't want to do it too early, because if they do it too early, it will easily be pulled out. They want to wait till almost the end, probably for the vote-a-rama. In the vote-a-rama, many experts are anticipating we're going to see multiple different bills. We will see something for unemployment. We heard yesterday that AOC, Ayanna Pressley, and another representative, they're going to bring this bill to the floor. They introduced legislation already that they are going to extend the unemployment benefits. And they want to extend these all the way to February 1st. It's going to be about 5 months worth of additional unemployment benefits. It can go from retroactively from September 6th all the way to February 1st, 2022. So that's going to be pretty big there. We know there's a big holdup regarding no SALT tax. There's no SALT tax right now. That's an issue. And some representatives are saying if there's no SALT tax, there's no deal. So we're going to see what happens there. Joe Manchin, he opposes many things right now. However, we don't know exactly what he opposes. Yeah, we do know the $3.5 trillion price tag is one of the big ones. He wants to see this drop significantly. He wants to see work requirements for the child tax credit payments. Right? He wants to see that no previous stimulus program gets an extension. That's another thing he wants to see. But this could ultimately hurt AOC and other progressives, because they are proposing legislation to retroactively extend unemployment benefits. This would include the $300 per week boost. Now, some say, I don't know if this will happen, but some say let's introduce legislation that will extend unemployment benefits but exclude the $300 per week boost. By doing that, it would make this provision a lot cheaper, and it would allow those that were self-employed that ran out of unemployment because they ran out of their available weeks, right? It would allow those people to go and get their unemployment benefits through the state. However, the $300 per week boost would not be included, which would essentially help many workers go back to work because they're not going to be enticed to collect the $300 per week for an additional 5 more months because it wouldn't be there. So, some are saying this would be the compromise to extend certain programs but eliminate the $300 per week boost. And experts do say that should be the answer. It should have been the answer months ago. However, nobody is really listening. So we'll see what happens there. But in other news, here's something else that I want to bring to your attention. Right now, many experts, lawmakers, and economists are saying that the winter months ahead of us are going to be a struggle for millions and millions of Americans. Families are going to have a hard time. Individuals are going to struggle. If we see this winter surge happen again, we could be in trouble. And this is why many are saying and calling for additional stimulus, whether it's a stimulus check or something else. We need something that's going to help the American people get through this pandemic and get through this winter. Because experts anticipate we will be in this pandemic almost for another year. It would take until next summer to get out of this. We need to see more people get the vaccine or have a natural immunity. They say having a natural immunity, going and trying to catch COVID is not a good idea. That's not the safest way to do it. They say the safest way is with the vaccine. But I do understand the vaccine hesitancy. So, right now they say there will most likely be a prolonged surge in COVID cases, that we need to expect this. So, we'll see what happens there. But in other news, there are now 16 states that have an obesity rate above 35%. Just 20 years ago, no state had an obesity rate above 25%, but now we're seeing 16 states are now beating this. These 16 states are Alabama, Arkansas, Delaware, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Michigan, Mississippi, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and West Virginia. Now, if you live in any one of those states, let me just ask you, hey, what is the staple of that state? What is the big dish, the main thing you guys eat there? And I ask this because according to experts, in the majority of those states, it would be a fried meal. Whatever it is fried. So experts are saying, do not eat fried foods. Fried foods are one of the leading causes. However, according to multiple studies, they say stress is the #1 cause of weight gain. Sleep is high on that list. Many people don't get enough sleep, and experts say that if you limit the amount of stress and you get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single night, you should have a healthier body and healthier mind. Experts also say getting more sleep and having less stress is just as important as eating a healthy and balanced diet. Studies show that Americans are eating too many processed foods and too many fatty foods, and that the pandemic has only given the American people more excuses as to why they have gained weight. However, experts say there's really no excuse. And many health experts are saying now that adults should have some type of step counter on them at all times. They're saying that the 10,000 steps per day rule is not an actual rule. You do not need to hit 10,000 steps per day, and they actually recommend that 7,000 steps is a better goal than hitting 10,000. They say if you can get to 7,000 every single day, with some days ranging from 7 to 10, maybe a little bit higher, that is good, that you need a little bit of variety and mix in your life. So that's what we know right now. But as always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share more. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.